Good evening, valued guests. Thank you for welcoming us into the comfort of your homes. At Nedbank Private Wealth and Nedbank Financial Planning, our advice ethos is rooted in connected wealth, connecting your financial decisions to your goals and aspiration. You will see at the center of this is connection. Nedbank is a purpose-led organization whose purpose is to use our financial expertise to do good for individuals, families, business, and society. To fulfill on this purpose, at Nedbank Private Wealth and Nedbank Financial Planning, we use our globally integrated advice approach to connect your financial decisions to your goals. Practically, this means providing our clients with technical expertise, access to global solutions and advice across Nedbank and other providers. And most importantly, connecting you to personal and objective advice, enabling you to make better life decisions and avoid financial disaster. Tonight, we bring the tide from the beautiful province of KwaZulu-Natal to your homes. It is a virtual experience aimed at transporting your senses to the beautiful coastline of KZN. Gift hampers have been delivered to your homes, sourced from local producers within the province. So sit back, relax, and enjoy, and welcome to Tide and Table.
Thank you so much, Nandi, and good evening, everybody. Welcome to Nedbank Private Wealth and Planning's Tide to Table show. Not to be confused with the Tide Timetable show, a live stream for fishermen. Lizay, that doesn't exist. I'm Nick Rabinovitz, your MC for the evening. And speaking of fishermen, by my side is the lovely Lizay Visser of Nedbank. Welcome, Lizay.
Welcome, thank you.
Lizay, what a treat it is to be here and be a part of this fabulous occasion on this magnificent KwaZulu-Natal Blue Flag beach with all of you wonderful people at home in your dressing gowns. I don't know what they're dressed in at home, but it's lovely to have you all with us. Lizay, it is marvelous, is it not?
It is stunning to be here.
Lizay, did you know that your surname, Visser, is also shared by 50,000 other people in the Netherlands?
Never Googled it, but thanks for sharing that information.
Do you think you are, in fact, descended from non-binary Dutch fisher people? Is that where Visser comes from?
I believe so. Husband would proudly say yes.
And do you think he might be related to Vivian Visser, who I had a crush on in Standard 4? In fact, we played a game of Kiss Catch at Peter Ainsley's 12th birthday party. I remember it very clearly. Kiss Catch, of course, was banned in the 90s. It's now called Catch Request Consent Kiss. But Vivian Visser was chasing me around Sikkelvlei and then caught me and then said, Nick, this is your opportunity. And I said, no, thanks, because I knew in my heart Vivian Visser wasn't Jewish, which was weird because I didn't even know I was Jewish at the time. There were no obvious signs.
Don't think they're related. Very Afrikaans, nothing Jewish in Leon.
That's what I thought. Anyway, it is wonderful to be back here in KZN. Lizay, 47 years ago, my mom actually discovered she was pregnant with me right here in this province and then left immediately because she was antenatal. That is my favorite joke of tonight's show. It only goes downhill from there. It's also wonderful to be here, of course, in front of uShaka Marine World, named after the legendary Zulu king and warrior Shaka Zulu, who many people don't actually know, Lizay, was a very keen fisherman. Apparently, when Shaka wasn't warrioring, he was a keen fisherman and ichthyologist. Did you know that?
Nope.
Yeah, well, it's not actually true. It's a lie. It's mainly because by law, every second thing in KwaZulu-Natal must be named after Shaka. Also, Shaka kind of sounds like shark, if you think about it. So it's kind of a pun. I don't know if it's a pun. Also, did you know, Lizay, that uShaka once housed a manta ray for a short time before it was moved to Georgia Aquarium in the United States? And it was actually called Manta Chabalala Fishimang.
I did not know.
Because it's also,
so many questions.
It's also not true. Lizay, I've done some research on you online. How is your husband Leon and the kids Joanne, Danielle, and Divan? How are they?
Oh, lovely. As a matter of fact, I've got a wedding on Saturday. Joanne is getting married.
Oh,
Firstborn,
mazel
finally
tov.
one out of the house and
Wow.
off the payroll.
Also, I don't know if you should put them on your LinkedIn profile. It makes it easier to steal your identity. Lizay, one thing I discovered about you that is deeply inspirational is that you are living proof that someone who matriculates from Roodepoort High can still make a success of themselves in the area of wealth management.
Coming from the West Rand.
You are an inspiration.
Thank you, Nick, and all the insights you've shared with us.
Oh, you're welcome.
And to all our valued guests here tonight, thanks to everyone for taking the time to join us from all over the country to celebrate and recognize this incredible province and people of KZN. It's wonderful to be here. With the sound of the waves crashing behind me, we hope that everyone at home will be able to sense these wonderful sights and sounds we know so well. And something, Nick,
Yes.
that you and I have in common.
Yes.
And obviously you did not do your Googling that well.
Right.
I too was born here in Durban.
My magtig.
Yeah, exactly. Just behind, the bluff.
The bluff.
I know.
Wow.
The bluff, the West Rand. There's a lot of things it's got in common. But yeah, I was born here at the age of 10 years. We packed up all the way to the Free State. So that's why I've got the Afrikaans accent and not the bluff accent. But yeah, lovely to be back here with everyone. And please, I hope you can hear the sounds behind us and you're going to be enjoying tonight with us. But let's get back to why we're here tonight. And we're going to look at the beautiful sand castle. So this was exactly what we have done. We've been building the sand castles.
Yes, you say we. I'd like to point out I had no part in building the sandcastle. I'm Jewish, I don't know if you know, and ever since our ancestors left Egypt, we've had an aversion to sand and manual labor, so other people did it.
I'm sorry about that. Well, okay. We got a lot of help.
We did.
From experts.
Yes,
so
thank goodness.
Definitely not going to claim that. These sand castles were built by immense talented gentlemen, Power and Jabulani. Isn't that just incredible?
It is. We're actually going to go take a look at the sandcastles right now and admire them in a spontaneous way. That's what it says in the script. Well, there you have it. I mean, my idea of a sandcastle is actually more like King Arthur's castle. But this one doesn't look like it would protect you against 5th century Anglo-Saxon invaders from Germany and Denmark, does it? No.
Definitely not. But Nick, that's so true. This castle shows all the elements of this evening's agenda, our theme of tide to table. We wanted it to represent how integrated the oceans are around the coastlines and to show the vast and significant marine life we have. And we'll shortly be moving over to uShaka Marine Aquarium itself, as well as honor the beautiful tropical produce grown and harvested in this area. So Nick, at Nedbank Private Wealth and Nedbank Financial Planning, we are proud to be purpose-led. And it's not just marketing fluff that we talk about. To integrate all of this into our concept, we really want to demonstrate what we believe in. It's not just about the communications, but really in how we do business. This is not just lip service for us. We really practice what we preach. These events are great examples of how we do this. We endeavor to employ and produce products and services proudly from the people here from KZN that we are celebrating here tonight. All the local talent, all the goods that's coming so unique from this area. So in the hampers that were sent to all of you, and I hope all of you have already opened it up, much of the labor and the services were derived from this area for this event. And it was done in such a way to support the small communities from KZN and the small businesses. Last year's event was held at the Cradle of Humankind. We also sent out beautiful hampers to our guests. And those of you that's here with us tonight may remember, it was very much like this year.
I remember it well, even though I wasn't there.
So the hampers Everything was packed from the community. People from the community was used, businesses were used, and every one of you, but all of us in our own way, supported were investing back into the community and participating in what we truly preach and passionate about. So as an example, last year, if you look at what Nedbank contributed back, 26 of local goods were used from the community. All the gifts that were packed, there were 200 boxes that were sourced and packed by the community, and over 6,000 items of produce were produced. All of that hand wrapped. It took 352 man hours, and packing 33 small businesses were supported by this event. Over 3,000 meals were served through the donation to the Chefs with Compassion. So it really talks to what we are passionate about at Nedbank. Through these activities last year, the event reinvested over R1 million back into the community and small businesses in South Africa. So you can truly see we don't just talk it, we really walk what we do at Nedbank and passionate about. So thank you to all of you to agree to attend this event with us tonight. It's not just about us being here, listening to the waves and celebrating, but it's really contributing back into the community of KZN. And then that brings us back to the fun stuff. So let's see what's in this year's boxes.
Yes, let us take a look. Lizay, I'm actually a sucker for a gift. I don't know if you know that, especially when it took 352 hours for someone to wrap it for me. That's just astounding. That's how you know, Lizay, a person really cares about you. It's not about the quality of the gift. It's about the sheer astounding number of man hours they put in, is it not? Now, I see you got to the box before me.
I haven't had breakfast. It's supper time already, so let's see.
All right, let's take a look. Would you like to run us through some of these beautiful, delicious items, Lizay?
Let me go closer to the table and then I can actually just talk you through some of the beautiful articles and stuff that we've packed to goodie in your goodie boxes. So, first of all, for those of you like me who are not a chef, we've put the book inside the box to help you through using all the ingredients. Our famous chef, Zola Nene, that is the author of this book. Then I am the queen of a famous and fabulous cheese platter. So I'm going to try and do the cheese stuff and the savory stuff.
Okay, good.
We've got some beautiful cheeses, we brie cheeses. Then we have our pepper gouda, also lovely, one of my favorites,
yes,
as I say. And then, gentlemen, looking for your savory stuff, biltong, some salami.
Actually, the best salami in Durban is actually from a Jewish porkeria run by Rabinowitzes. Shame on them, but they do offer great bargains on their salamis.
You'll definitely add something now every time I have a salami.
Called Temper. Have you not been there?
No,
Yeah,
never been there. Never been there. And then obviously a cheese platter is not a platter without a delicious olive.
Olywe, ja.
Ons het ons olywe daar, fantasties.
Ja.
And then proudly Durban, let me just put this down. We've got some masala, achar, sorry, this is our achar, lovely.
Yes.
My dad used it for breakfast. I mean, as I said, I was born in Durban. So my dad used to have toast and achar for breakfast.
Toast and achar.
Yeah,
Wow,
so you
some
can
like it
imagine
hot.
I like it hot, but that is it. And then some lovely masala to add. And for those of the ladies that don't know, masala stains. So we thought about you. You've got an apron, a beautiful apron that's also there
Good
in
thinking.
the box.
Good thinking.
And there's a lot of goodies that are missing. We've got the
Oh, let's talk about the Sugar Baron box over here. Yes, what's in there?
proudly from KZN as well. Apparently a hot new cocktail. We're going to be sharing later on tonight from how to make this beautiful cocktail.
That is cane.
Yeah, sugar cane.
They say cane for the pain. Is that
Cane for
is
the
that right?
pain. Have one
This
or
we
two.
used to drink at varsity when we ran out of tussies. Do you remember?
Not cane. No, I don't. I think that was a guy.
But this is artisanal. This is artisanal cane. So it probably won't land up with you crying in the corner at the end of the night. But let's see. It might.
I don't know, Nick. I think
Neither
maybe.
do I. And last off, we have the delicious chocolate, Doc. 50% chocolate from the Drakensberg.
From the Drakensberg. I mean, I've been there. I hope everyone has been there. Hopefully
It's called
next
Inja
time.
Sooty because it's got a sort of a sooty dark chocolate vibe
Yeah.
to it.
And obviously the best way to end a platter is with a dark chocolate. Talks to the diet. Apparently dark chocolate is
Very
good for the
healthy.
diet. Very healthy, very healthy. So
Antioxidants.
all of this is supposed to be a health platter. We thought about everyone when we did this. And then let's not forget the cordial.
Oh, what is the cordial called?
2 in a bush.
Okay.
So let's grab a nice iced tea.
Let's
and
do
start
that.
the
Lizay.
evening.
There we go. Cheers.
Cheers.
Na zdrowie. L'chaim.
L'chaim.
Da kakahad. Well, that is quite lovely, and this is all magnificent. We hope you enjoy it at home. And Lizay, before we go any further, I'd like to introduce you here and the people at home to a very talented artist who is actually waiting for us. He's in the aquarium next door. We will join him shortly. His name is Nico Puko. He is a highly talented visual artist from Africa who has popularized the concept of live painting. Have you heard of live painting, Lizay? Live painting is what it's called when your painting is done by a human being and not artificial intelligence. Live painting. It won't be around for much longer, folks, so enjoy it while it lasts. Nico captures the essence of special events in real time on canvas by interpreting music and the event into a visual statement. Do you know what a visual statement is? Like when you go to the police station because you crashed into someone and you have to give them a visual statement. It wasn't me, it was him. Look, here's the arrow.
And draw the pictures.
Yes. The artwork becomes a unique and colorful representation of the event, incorporating the mood, the sounds, the highlights of the evening, like maybe when the tiger shark accidentally eats the diver. Also, let's actually cross now to Nico and see if he can hear us. Nico, are you there? Give us a thumbs up, Nico. Can you hear us? Blink twice if you're in a difficult situation. I think he's there. We look forward to seeing what develops on his canvas. It's currently blank, but hopefully he'll be painting. He'll actually be painting to a soundtrack that they have at home as well. It's in your box. The tracks have been listed in a leaflet, and I'm guessing first up is in Kalakata. It always is. By the end of our time together, Nico will have done a fabulous artistic interpretation of our time together, combined with the moods brought about by the beats of KwaZulu-Natal and the calming influence of the magnificent marine creatures in the uShaka tanks. Nico, word of advice, try not to focus too much on the sharks and the spider crabs.
To go and save him. I understand Nico has painted at notable events such as the tribute to Samora Machel, and where the painting was presented to Mrs. Grossa Machel and Dr. Nelson Mandela.
Anyway, Lizay, you've been wonderful. Thank you so much for joining me and introducing the event. Ladies and gentlemen, for everyone at home, we are actually here. This is not a high resolution filter. We are in fact on the beach, well, just off the beach in front of the uShaka Sea World in Durban. And while many of you may have explored uShaka before visiting, maybe you've seen schools of fish in the giant tanks, or seals, or waddling penguins, or taken a turn on the wild. There's a super ride, super tube ride as well. There's actually much more to this establishment than meets the eye, Lizay, particularly for blind people. Yesterday we met with Dr. Carol Knox, the clinical veterinarian of SAMBUR, which stands for the South African Association for Marine Biological Research, a non-profit founded in 1951. SAMBUR is made up of 3 chapters, one of them being uShaka Marine. Carol took us actually on a private tour into the bowels, or should I say the colon, the large intestine, let's say the large intestine of the establishment, which is the Marine Rehab Center. A warning to sensitive viewers, it's hard to see strung out seals and turtles in withdrawal, but you're adults, you can handle it. Let's take a look.
Okay, I am Dr. Carol Knox. I work at SAMBUR, which stands for the South African Association of Marine Biological Research. So it's a big name for an organization that started a long time ago, 1951 to be precise. So it was a bunch of scientists that got together sitting around a campfire and decided to make an organization that gives scientific research to help preserve the biodiversity along our coast and in our oceans. So they saw a need for that, and it's grown ever since. So at the moment, we are over 200 staff, and it's made up of 3 different departments. That 200 staff varies with the season, by the way, because we have a whole heap of volunteers, which we really need. So we'll start with the one division is the Oceanic Research Institute, which are a bunch of mad scientists that we love, that are besotted with tiny things as well as huge big ideas. So they're cool, and we get to chat with them a lot, which is great, and their scientific research helps me every day. And then we have the education department, the SeaWorld Education Department, which I also love. They bring in a whole lot of school kids. So in one day we can have 3,000 school kids coming to see our beautiful animals. And when you see those bus loads of little kids coming, and they're so excited, and when you walk past them you feel like a celebrity, it just makes my heart warm. And I know that the job that I'm doing here to show them these beautiful animals, to inspire them to love the ocean, it's going to make a difference in their lives. And I see those kids and I see the future of South Africa. So it makes me really excited. I work for the 3rd division, which is uShaka SeaWorld, and we are the staff that look after the animals. So whenever you see me as the veterinarian interact with the animals, I'm never alone. So this is very much a team sport. I need every single individual. So I came from the veterinary field into this aquatic medicine field, and I need all my staff members, because each of them brings in their skills and their knowledge. I mean, I have to deal with animals from a penguin to a little fish, a little surgeon or something like that, and all the keepers know their animals so well, and I'll come with my veterinary knowledge. We have a quarantine facility, which is a large area that looks like a whole bunch of pipes and glass tanks, but this area is very, very important. It forms part of our rehabilitation center. So first, just to go into the quarantine facility, that facility is not only for rehabilitation animals, that is also for any fish or sharks that need to go onto exhibit. They'll come to that area, they'll learn to feed from us, we'll make sure that they don't have any parasites and make sure they look good, and then put them onto display. Likewise, any animal that's on display, that if it gets beaten up by its tank mates, which does happen, and that's where I come in, or if we feel that the animal is not competing well, it'll go into quarantine and be given specialized food. So quarantine is more like a hospital area where we can keep a closer eye on the animals. And as I said, it also forms part of our rehabilitation center. So we'll take in anything marine. So usually it's turtles. They're usually green turtles, which we met shark today. Loggerhead turtles are quite common. Every now and again we've had a little leatherback, but they are very rare. We also get hawksbill turtles. So anything that the public or our stranding network will report that needs help, and we'll work along our whole coast. So sometimes we'll get people right up in St. Lucia saying, please come and get this turtle. And we will either drive up and get it, or they'll bring it towards us, and we'll start the process. So the animals will come in. I'll use my teams, obviously, to handle the animals. The keepers are very important, and the keepers will often have knowledge in terms of how to deal with our captive animals, that they can then use that same knowledge to deal with our rehab animals. And there are a lot of network of people that we can just call. I would like to extend an invitation to all the Nedbank clients to come and meet me personally and come for a back of house tour, because I think people do struggle seeing it on the TV screen and not being able to connect. And I connect better with people in person rather than through a screen. We don't usually offer back of house tours, but I think as a special gift from me to you, the Nedbank clients can come and meet me, and I can take them on a back of house tour, and you can personally see with your own eyes what we do back of house and get to meet the creatures. I can't promise you to touch them, because as you'll see with Bella, there are some teeth involved, but just I don't think people realize what is underneath the uShaka and what we do here. So I would love to show people around.
Well, there you go, the incredible Marine Rehab Center, treating way more than just tick-addicted seals. And now I'd also like to remind you all back home about Dr. Knox's offer to personally show you around the operations. here at the aquarium. Should you wish to see this incredible organization at work, it's really a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that is not granted to the general public. I'm also told that Dr. Knox used to work at the SPCA and has a passion for chopping off dogs' testicles, but I don't think that's part of the tour. And now, I would like to introduce you to a very special person who heads up Nedbank's philanthropy and advice in wealth management for South Africa. Everybody give it up for Tracy Miller. Hi, Tracy.
Hi, Nick.
Lovely to have you on the show. I've also done some research
Here we go.
on you, Tracy. Ladies and gentlemen, we are in the presence of a very special person, someone who was actually Simonstown High School's head girl of 1987. Amazing the things you can find on LinkedIn. What a double whammy, Tracy. Not only head girl, but also head of philanthropy. Which do you consider to be your greatest achievement?
My greatest achievement is definitely the head of philanthropy, Nick.
Also, I wanted to ask, are you by any chance related to Hendrik Henny Skoltsvoslo Miller, who famously captained South Africa to a 44-0 win over Scotland in 1951 at Murrayfield?
Not that
I
I'm aware
didn't think
of.
so. Anyway, what an amazing job you have, Tracy.
Yeah, indeed it is. It is, Nick. Absolutely it is. You know, not only do I get to try and enable clients to make better financial decisions, avoid financial disasters and realizing their giving aspirations, but we also get to see the absolutely amazing work that fellow South Africans are actually doing on a day-to-day basis. And they're actually changing lives. They're changing human lives. They're changing the environment in which we live. And it's just so inspirational to be able to get to experience and to see this firsthand. But it doesn't stop there, because we don't only get to see these amazing organizations that are doing great work, but we also get to work with amazing individuals that have a passion for giving, that have a passion for wanting to leave a legacy and make a difference in this world. And one such individual that we've worked with for many years as a business, and many of you may know him, is Hans Hoheisen. He is a businessman, a conservationist, and he is also a philanthropist. We looked after Hans during his lifetime from a wealth management perspective. We helped him grow his assets, his wealth. We also helped him structure it so that when he was no longer here, he would be able to leave a legacy and his passion would be able to continue. To the extent that we helped him establish the Hans Hoheisen Charitable Trust. It's one of the biggest trusts, privately funded trusts in South Africa that looks after conservation. And you know, we often think that conservation is something that's really removed from our day-to-day lives because we don't experience. We only experience it when we go on holidays to game farms, etc. But the reality is that it's an integral part of our lives. And the things that these amazing organizations are doing to preserve our environment is just absolutely amazing. So we look after the Hans Hoheisen Trust. We're really honored and privileged to be able to do that. And the Hans Hoheisen Trust really benefits many of these organizations that are doing good work. And we're going to give you a glimpse of some of those organizations tonight in terms of the good work that they're doing.
Which is very exciting and also quite amazing. I was looking into the trust and Hans in particular. He basically gave the land back before it was trendy to do so as well, by donating many of his inherited farms and acres of land, not to people, but to conserve wildlife, which I don't think is exactly what the EFF had in mind, but it's still a valiant effort nonetheless. And it sounds like he was an extraordinary man.
He was an extraordinary man, absolutely. And you know, the fact that we are now looking after the legacy that he wanted to leave and that we're continuing that for him. And the amazing work, as I said, that these organizations are doing through Hans's his act of kindness, really, and wanting to actually give and to leave a legacy. So yes, an absolutely incredible individual, selfless individual that had a passion for something and really wanted to make sure that that passion continued long after his lifetime. And as a wealth management business, I mean, we're really pleased to say that what we have managed to do is to preserve the capital but we've also managed to make some really good impact with some of the organizations which we are going to be showcasing tonight as well.
That's absolutely right, Tracy. And next up, we'll be introducing you to one of those beneficiaries of the Hans Hoheisen Trust, WESA, overseers of the Blue Flag program. And we're actually going to go over there right now to meet Tevye Lotrit from WESA.
Awesome.
Let's go. Here with me from WESA is Senior Sustainability Manager Tevye Lotrit. Now, Tevye, according to your LinkedIn profile, which I looked up on the internet, you were also chairperson of the Matric Fashion Show and chief yearbook photographer at Fishhook High. Is that true?
That's
Yeah.
true. You did
So
your
you're no
research.
stranger to positions of senior management. You don't have to comment on that unless you would like to.
I'm impressed that you did your research so
I
well.
did. Now, I believe WESA stands for, is it Wildlife and Environment Society of South Africa? Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. So WEST is actually a 97-year-old environmental organization. We focus on educating, advocating, and acting for environmental and social justice, for climate action, to restore and protect biodiversity, and to reduce pollution. So we also implement high-impact environmental and conservation projects and programs all across South Africa.
Amazing.
Yeah, and Tevye, I mean, WEST is involved with many programs, but one of them is the Blue Flag program. Maybe you could just tell us a little bit about that and how you go about actually obtaining Blue Flag status as a beach.
Sure. So the Blue Flag program is an international environmental certification program, and it's run by the Foundation for Environmental Education, and it's actually in 51 countries that participate in the program. And it's actually awarded to not only beaches, but also marinas and sustainable tourism boat operators that are able to meet a specific set of environmental and sustainability criteria. So for a beach specifically, to qualify for Blue Flag status, you need to comply with 33 different criteria from 4 different coastal management themes. So that would be environmental education and information, environmental management, water quality, as well as safety and services. So in a nutshell, a Blue Flag beach must be clean, the ablutions and surrounding facilities must be well maintained, there should be appropriate safety measures in place, the bathing water should be safe, so regular monitoring is required, and the beach should be accessible for all.
And Tevye, I mean, in South Africa, where are the beaches mainly located that have received that status?
So as it stands for the past season, which is season 2022-23, I would say the majority are in the Western Cape, but we do have our beaches in the KZN, we have Reinvent municipality, we have Kwadakuza municipality on the program, and we hope to grow the sites in KZN because it's a huge opportunity.
Does uShaka Beach behind us have a blue flag?
They had, but they don't have the Blue Flag status at the moment. So it's an annual.
Okay, because I
annual
looked
award.
at the E. coli levels for this beach last week. It was 3,282 pounds per 100 milliliters. So the critical range is 500. So that's 6 times the critical range.
No,
Would
250, not 500.
Oh, so 250.
Yes.
Would you give them a red flag instead of a blue flag? Are there red flags? Should there be red flags?
I don't think they would qualify for a Blue Flag.
Okay, that's very diplomatically expressed. Is there anything the average person can do, Tevye, to encourage the municipality to give their beach blue flag status?
Yes, I would say get involved in your local area, get involved with local environmental organizations and conservation organizations. See how you can assist them. I mean, we can't completely rely on the government for everything. So I would definitely encourage citizens to see how they can help and get involved with.
And there are citizens who have done this, I believe. Is it the Tidy Town project, Tidy
Yes,
Town Community?
so-
They actually apparently toy-toyed outside the municipality offices shouting things like Zuma must go, as well as we're fed up with the state of our beaches. Is it true that they said that?
No, I don't think that's entirely true. However, Tidy Town, it's a group on the KZN South Coast that it's a wonderful example of a community that came together to actively tackle issues and improve their beaches. And it's a community project for the community, by the community. And they formed a positive working relationship with the local municipality, which is Reinvent, and it's really seen a huge improvement on the local beaches. It's restored pride in their local coastal spaces, and these type of relationships are going to be very important going forward. Long-term sustainability of our coastal sites.
Well, we actually also have a video about Tiny Town and how this community came together to make a difference for their environment. Let's take a look.
Towards the end of last year, a lot of the surfers that surf at the beaches couldn't even get from the car park to the beach and back to their vehicles.
They were filthy, there were chicken bones, ablution facilities were in decay.
The car parks were covered in glass and there was litter everywhere. Really started looking shocking on the south coast.
It degraded. It just slowly sort of got into a situation where things stopped working properly the way we wanted it to. People stopped coming, people started going elsewhere.
Tourism is what drives the south coast. We've got 14 beaches that are beautiful, that are big, that can house people, and we've had no tourists because generally been in a state of disrepair or just not looked after and neglected.
The idea of just raising it to a group, floating it to some of the companies down here, the locals, the community and that, and it just sparked utter wildfire from, we had painters, waterproofers, rotor tanks, plumbers, like at the drop of a hat. The momentum just took off.
We just changed the status quo from complaining and trying to complain about our municipality to embracing our municipality. And think about it, if you were a municipal worker and you've always got everyone saying negative things, and the next thing you've got this whole team that just wants to work with you, build you up, you feel like a part of a family. You're going to do better, we're going to do better, everyone's going to do better.
As government, we do not have enough resources or enough money to do everything that we are supposed to do.
The job's been too big. Not one party could do that or dig it out by themselves. It's really this unitedness. Yeah, we maybe had some manpower, but we haven't had the equipment. So we've gone to the municipality, and I think between everyone, we've pulled off major jobs down here.
If we stand together as communities in unity, we can do anything. We can make any change. Tidy Towns has saved the South Coast. It hasn't been an easy year. It's been a lot of hard work, but people are buying new properties on the South Coast and our property values have increased. We've had a phenomenal season with lots of holiday makers down here and people just enjoying the beaches and having a really good time down here.
It's given us a sense of pride and a sense of belonging in our area. It's a reason to get up in the morning again because you're excited for your area and excited to see how this transformation has taken place.
Every citizen must look after the infrastructure. If we don't look after it, if we don't maintain it, we must own up. If we use that as our launch pad, we're not going to go wrong. Trust me.
Amazing. Well done to Tidy Town as well. Tevye, one final question. Were your parents big fans of Fiddler on the Roof? Is that how you got the name?
That is
Tevye?
150,000% how I got the name.
I'm also thinking of launching a Jewish brand of sweetener called Tevye instead of Stevia. Do you think it's a good idea? Would you come on board as a brand ambassador?
I'll think about it.
Igama lami uMnikina Nonkululeko, and I'm an intern under the YES program. I work for World Trust under the Blue Pot project. My main job description is making sure that it is clean around the harbour. By doing so, we collect all the litter we find around the harbour, such as plastic, paper, bottles. By collecting this waste, we're making sure it doesn't end up in the ocean. Being part of the Nedbank YES Youth program has helped me a lot as I've developed skills, work experience, and I've been able to meet my financial needs. I'm looking forward to take what I've learned here to the corporate world.
Tevia, thank you for those fascinating insights into the Blue Flag Project and how communities can make a difference to their environment. I now have Wendy Dunn from Wild Trust. We're moving from blue flags to blue ports. Wendy has emerged from the dunes and is going to be talking to us about a project that's assisting Durban's harbour in not only cleaning up the environment, but also giving youth opportunities, employment opportunities in marine conservation. Wendy, wonderful to have you with us.
Thank you, Nick. Nice to be here.
I know a lot about blue balls, but what are blue ports?
Blue Port is a project that is based out in the Durban Harbour, and we are primarily a group of 41 youth. And the youth is the Yes Youth. They work with me on a daily basis, and we clean around the port. And the Yes Youth being a youth employment program by the government. And this is just to expose the youth to some sort of work exposure. You know, every time somebody applies for a job and they ask, do you have work experience? And half of them don't have any work experience. So we offer that opportunity to provide work experience as well as educating them on how to take care of the environment at the same time.
Fantastic. And of course, this project extends, the impact of it extends way beyond just cleaning up the harbour.
Yes. We're here to educate the youth. We clean up the harbour. You know, every day we come to the port, we're trying basically to go back to what the port used to be previously, to restore the port back to its natural source. You know, having people come there and enjoy what the port used to be. And the youth are there daily to remove all the waste that's out there, but we mostly concentrate on plastic. And for that reason is we're trying to remove the plastic that's going into the ocean. We know that, you know, how much plastic is sitting at the bottom of the ocean currently. So our aim is to get rid of much as possible.
Approximately how much plastic do you think you've removed?
Since 2019 to date, I would say we've removed over 60 kgs of just plastic. And in total...
60 kgs or 60 tons?
60 tons,
60
sorry. 60
tons.
tons.
Is a lot more.
It's a lot more, yes.
Yes.
And with the total waste, it's over 100,000 tons, yes, of plastic.
And Wendy, if I recall, I think the Blue Crew started with about, was it 10 ladies?
Yes, it
and
was.
It's now extended to how many individuals?
41.
41, which is amazing.
41. On a yearly basis, we intake more and more. Last year, I think we had about 50, and this year we have 41.
So it's creating employment for people that otherwise wouldn't have employment as well, which is an amazing story.
That's correct, yes.
Yeah.
And I believe you're also sort of, I don't know if the term is upcycling, but you're using quite a bit of the waste to create other products.
That's correct, yes. With the plastic that is non-recyclable, that's mostly your chips packets that have a lot of layers within the plastic itself, so you're not able to recycle and make anything out of it. So that plastic we use to make pavers, which we termed ocean pavers, because of course where we get the waste from, the ocean. So we've meshed that up with crushed plastic, glass, and just water. No cementing, no sand, it's just glass and all the plastic that's meshed together, and we use and we make pavers. And those pavers we've installed in some of our hubs in our other projects, up in Itugela and Isimangaliso. So we've used the pavers there.
And can you say a little bit more about the relationship between Blue Port and the Yes Youth program?
With the Yes Youth, we implement the Yes Youth program on behalf of Nedbank and the government, and we employ Yes Youth there. The skills that they get from us is not just picking up waste and learning about the environment, but it's also skills that they can use going forth in their life. We do a lot of training with them. They get work employment training, how to conduct yourself in the workplace professionally, how to handle your finances. So all the skills that they gain, they'll be able to use going forward.
Well, Wendy, thank you so much for joining us and for sharing this incredible program. Not just Blue Port, but the Yes Youth program, both doing outstanding work that makes a difference. Thank you.
It's a pleasure. Thanks for being here.
So everybody, we're now going to move this party into the aquarium, and while we do that, you'll be entertained by a very talented group and family as well. They've performed at prestigious international events, Tracy, such as the 2014 Commonwealth Games in Glasgow, South Africa Day celebrations in Tanzania, and the Dubai International Jazz Festival, as well as numerous family weddings, which they weren't paid for. They've collaborated with Vicky Sampson and shared stages with Huma Sakela, Puza Kimisi, Mikasa. And ladies and gentlemen, their single Africa Unite has topped the charts somewhere at some time. I just can't say exactly when. A reminder, in case we can't see you and you feel like tapping your toes or getting up and dancing at home, please do so. No one's watching. No one's watching them. And although if they are alone at home with a heart condition, they probably shouldn't dance as if no one's watching, because nobody is watching, and then that could lead to a situation. And also, if you are dancing in the nude, please maybe put some tape on your webcam, because somebody might be watching you out there on the internet and then extort you for money and threaten to release your search history. So anyway, I think I'm going to get this team up and on their feet, which they are already. But come on, guys, there's a conga line. Apparently there's going to be a conga line that way. So everybody follow me. I haven't done this since my bar mitzvah to Kylie Minogue's Locomotion.
Wow.
You're supposed to put your hands on the shoulder. There we go.
Hello, Nedbank Private Wealth and Financial Planning. We're so excited to be here with all of you this evening and to be a part of the Tide to Table event. We are the Afro Divas all the way from Durban, South Africa, accompanied by a Quiet Storm Band. Enjoy. Thank you.
If you
we're back live with you, everybody. That was the super talented sisters trio, the Tsange sisters, aka the Afro Divas with Ain't No Mountain High Enough. Guys, I've climbed Kilimanjaro. It's 5,995 meters. I had hypoxia, mountain sickness, and other related ailments. So I can tell you that some mountains are actually high enough. But it's just a song. Guys, we are back here. We are in the bowels. We've gone deep down under. I don't mean we've emigrated to Australia. We've semigrated from outside to inside. We are right here. The shark tank is to my left. To my immediate left are the Natal Moonies. The Moonies, of course, renowned for establishing a cult here in the uShaka Aquarium in the mid-1980s. And I'm joined by three gentlemen to my left. We have KZN Regional Head of Wealth Management, Paul Haslau, and we, of course, have the Head of International, Hein Klee. That's why his name on his shirt is Paul Smith, but it's really Hein Klee. And then, of course, to my extreme far left, the owner of Seafield Farm and founder of Sugar Baron world-class rum, and more importantly for our KZN experience tonight, Kane. Please welcome Brad O'Neill. Give it up for each other, guys. We don't have an audience. Sisters doing it for themselves. Fantastic. Welcome to the Shark Tank. And before we get into the exhilarating world of farming and finance, what a topic that is, let's check in on our resident artist, Nico Puko, to my extreme left. Nico, how is it going down there? It's going wonderful. I can see, I'm not kind of sure what shark that is. It's definitely a shark. There might be an octopus teacher. Is there a nudibranch? Could you paint a pajama shark, but without its pajamas, Nico? He can't hear me. He's got his earplugs in, and I'm told right now he is listening to a whale mating song. It's track 3 on your playlist. That's why they call them humpbacks, guys. Apparently they sing while on the job. Now, back to the bar, everybody. I'm not alone in saying that I am truly parched. And Brad, I'm looking forward to what's going to happen here this evening. Apparently you are an expert cocktail maker. You're also an expert in birds. Your favorite bird is Marisa. Your second favorite is the Norwegian Trojan. But could you tell us a bit more about your ingredients that you brought with us tonight to make what I'm really looking forward to for these rum-inspired cocktails? Kane inspired.
Kane.
Yes.
Well, welcome, everyone. Thank you for having me. Thanks to Nedbank. Expert cocktail maker, I'm not so sure about that. I'll leave that up to my wife, definitely. I love making good spirit, rum and cane. I love drinking it, but that's about it. But I'm going to give my hand today and try and make us some delectable and delicious and tasty cocktails. I think it's going to get the taste buds going and really look forward to that. So everyone should have this lovely box here with steamer inside. It's our cane spirit. So it's cane grown up, basically. So we've made a really good high quality cane spirit that's multi-award winning, and it's a beautiful spirit, somewhere between a rum and a vodka. So it's got the lovely subtle aromatics of rum, that grassy, fresh vibe of rum, but then together with that smoothness that some of the great vodkas have out there.
Yes, and in fact, I don't know if you can see me because our cameraman just left his camera, but I'm hoping you can. Because here at Nedbank Wealth Management and Nedbank Financial Planning, I'm told you guys always push your team to new levels, which is why Paul and Hein have been roped in here as assistant barmen so that they can learn a thing or two about serving a drink. So guys, your station is set up here. You're going to watch, you're going to learn from Brad, and please don't let the team down by being cuck. So before we start, Brad, I see one of the things highlighted on the Sugar Baron website is that your farm is sustainable. Now, what does that actually mean?
Yes, it really is a big part of our farming. And when I came to the farm, when my late father passed away in 2010, it was a big part that we had brought from the wine industry. It was the previous industry that I was involved in. So it really starts in the soil, and we're big on giving our soil rest, long fallow periods, planting green manure crops, and everything, all that biomass together with your legumes, your non-legumes, and your brassicas. It's all worked back, fixing nitrogen and giving back a lot of bio-organic mass back to the soil. So everything that we take out for our crop of sugarcane, it's been put back, more than put back into the soil. So one of our biggest sort of philosophies, not only farming for the future, which is our slogan on the farm, but it's also, we are mere custodians of the land. So it's really up to us to ensure that, that future generations are still able to farm. And it's scary times when one's looking at global warming and the way it's affecting farming.
Yes, I mean, there's a lot to be anxious about in terms of global warming, climate change, mass extinction of the species. Elon Musk actually says it's going to be fine because we'll all move to Mars. Do you think, Hein, it will be fine if we have to move to Mars in 2050? Because imagine, it'll be like lockdown, except the closest Woolies is like 190 million kilometers away, and if you open up a window, you die. You don't have to comment on that right now.
Want to,
oh, do you?
Yes. I don't mind living there. It's the problem getting there.
Getting there, yes.
It's a journey. So as long as we've got a couple of these,
I'm sure Brad can throw a few in.
I'll be happy with it.
The beauty of this cane spirit that you've produced is that you are elevating cane. Is that not your stated mission, Brad? To elevate cane from not just something that students drink, but then you've chosen the name for the cane. I don't know if we can hold it up, the stimela. The stimela, of course, is the Zulu word for train. So, of course, basically, we're back to cane train, which is where we started in the beginning.
Yes, absolutely. So, quintessentially, we are a rum distillery. So, we focus on the agricole style of making rum. So, opposed to molasses, only about 2% of rums worldwide are made from sugarcane, or sugarcane juice that's extracted from sugarcane, which is then fermented and distilled. So very same thing as cane. Cane can also be made from molasses, a byproduct of sugarcane. So we've made it from fresh sugarcane juice, but it's a multiple distillation process compared to our rum, which is only a double distillation. So a lot more aromatics in the rum, maybe less so in the stimela, but we've got that beautiful, elegant palate on stimela. So one thing I've got to say is it's fantastic, this name that we came up with, because we happened to dig up a lot of really old railway tracks that was in the middle of our fields. It was the old Gullivan railway system that used to take fresh produce right through from Akopa, Richmond, going to Durban. And from late 1800s, early 1900s, before motorized vehicles basically came up, that was the way fresh produce was delivered to the market.
Well, that wonderful story. And for those of you back home, you've seen the box. I don't know if you've seen the box next to Brad. You've all got a box within a box, or as Zulu speakers in KZN would say, if you ever watched The Money or the Box from the 1980s, I don't know if you remember that show. Imali, okanye pogesi. Remember, they used to shout at the contestants, Sizwe imali, or Sizwe pogesi, and they would badaya. Like, do you not think it would be a great show on CakeNet? To translate that show into Afrikaans. Frikkie van die geld. Nee, frikkie die doos. Frikkie jou doos, jy moet die doos gekies het. Anyway, that's just the thought I had right now. So inside your box, within a box, you'll find all the ingredients you need for making the cocktail at home. The recipe should be on a page in your box, so feel free to pour yourself a special cocktail along with us, unless drinking alone is actually a problem for you, in which case you should probably check yourself into marine rehab. Dr. Knox actually says she has space in the bowels of the aquarium where you can detox alongside a couple Joe who drank too much seawater. So Brad, I understand the recipe you developed specifically for tonight's event epitomizes the spirit of KZN. Hein, you see what I did there? The spirit of KZN. Could you tell us more about the chosen ingredients?
Yes. So in your box, pretty much the only thing that one's going to have to replicate, it's near equal parts of sugar and salt and basically finely chopped up mint. That's all a combination that we're going to be using to edge our glass with. So that's the most important thing we're going to start with. Just now, obviously, Paul's going to be involved with the lime cane spritz, and thereafter Han with the KZN lemon cane kicker. So obviously the key ingredient, stimela, our cane, beautiful premium cane spirit, together with simple sugar syrup. So this is really just sugar, equal parts of sugar and water that's been reduced together, and then lemon juice. So that all together, we've got those three ingredients. We've also got the cans, roses, mixed cordials, go incredibly well. Also local, go very, very well with our cocktails. So we've selected a couple of them for our first cocktail tonight.
Can't wait, and let's kick off. What do you want these guys to get busy with?
So we're going to start with Paul. So take your first glass. While I have a little chat of what we're going to do, Paul's going to cut wedges.
Excellent cutting there, Paul.
Yeah, great.
You've done this before, have you?
Can I ask you a question about your bottle?
Yes.
I see at the back here you actually have bottle number 353.
Yes.
So how many do you do per year?
Yes,
more or
so
less?
it's all very small batch. Good question. So this batch Yeah, it wasn't. It was literally 400 bottles we made, just under. And so, yeah, that's basically the second batch we've produced. We're going on to batch 3 very soon. Yeah.
But I see you also make it in 500 ml. So just when you start drinking Lucky, you must buy another bottle.
That's it.
Oh, that's clever.
Yes, it is also the entry
Thanks.
level. It's very affordable, but we made a very good spirit. So really, really pure and clean. But we've kept the packaging costs down a little bit too, so affordable as well. So what I'm doing right now is we're edging the top part of the glass so that once we've done that, it's got a little bit of stickiness so that we can adhere the little bowl which we've done, as I mentioned, the sugar and the salt and the mint. So you've literally then edged the top of your glass all nicely like this.
Beautiful edging, Paul.
There you go.
Thank you.
Lovely. So once
Give it
you've
a
done
one,
that,
Hein, you're doing boggerel here. What do you
I'm doing the second one.
So,
okay,
Han's going to
They're
be
doing the
second
ladies'
one?
drink, the spritzer.
Okay. I would say, let's go with half a glass of ice here. So this quintessentially is basically call it our deconstructed mojito / margarita in a sense, because we've got that little bit of salt vibe coming out. So, but we really want the taste of almost the sea together with a burst of our local fresh, grassy and floral cane spirit. It's a very much of a lighter styled spirit compared to that of the big, bold rums and canes that are made out of molasses. So once we've got our ice, we're going to give, I'm at a free pour.
Free pour for you.
You could go double shot, give it a nice dollop.
You know, they
Like to call that a
say
double.
this is your week drink.
Yes.
During the week.
Yes.
And that's your weekend drink.
Okay,
You see that?
I agree
That's
with
week.
that.
Yeah.
Weekend.
That makes sense.
So, yeah, today, being Thursday, will be a long weekend.
Long weekend.
Okay, right. Next ingredient, lime wedge. So we're going to give it a nice squeeze and then drop it in. So that's going to be ready for action. We're going to take first 2 mixes from Roses. Okay, so it's the lemony squeezy soda and the lemony lime together. And then we're going to pour them together with equal amounts into the cups. Careful it doesn't fizz over and mess your edging. And then once we get there, almost to the top, we're all good to go. And then, very simply, we're going to garnish a little bit of mint. And there we've got our beautiful first cocktail. Cheers.
Cheers. Thank you.
Yeah. We don't get it.
Yeah, fuck, my mouth is so dry. We don't get a dog.
Could you please mind your language? Lizzie has asked me to tell you this is a
apologize.
corporate.
You're going to have your turn just now. You can maybe have a sip.
That is mushy. That's very nice.
That's
How's
what you
that,
call a
eh, guys?
Zimbabwean cocktail. Mushi.
It is.
Just be careful of the salt.
That is delicious.
It's refreshing, eh? How refreshing is that?
Did you say that this recipe is actually inspired by your lovely wife, Marisa?
It is indeed.
And
as,
is it
as I
true-
said before, she's the cocktail maker. Not
She's the cocktail maker. And I see
Tastes
from
like
your
Moorish, eh?
website that she's also not just the cocktail maker, but the keeper.
Is that a bad thing?
Sorry.
That's just a reason to get more.
Excuse me, everybody.
It's the paramedics close by.
Yeah.
I believe Marisa is also the keeper of your heart.
She is indeed.
Do you find when you go away from Marisa
Yeah?
that absence makes the heart grow fungus?
Fungus? Definitely not.
Anyway, keep talking because I've lost my voice. It's starting to come back, but what is next?
Okay, what's next? Getting on to our next, we're going to keep this for just now.
Yeah.
When you chat a bit later, we'll carry on sipping on them jets. So the very next cocktail, which Hans is going to be doing, is the KZN Lemon Cane Kicker. Okay, now this, you could almost look at it almost like a deconstructed daiquiri, if one would call it that, except it's not shaken. So we're not using, obviously, cocktail shakers. So simply, we take our glass, okay, and number 1 ingredient, we put a bit of ice. Let's go with half a glass and then pretty much the same as that. So it's not going to be a full glass at all. Get in there, get in there.
So I see you do use blocks. You don't crush it. I see in the other one you also didn't
Yes.
crush.
Yeah,
Is there a reason why?
We didn't crush. We're keeping things a bit simpler today. Obviously, with a cocktail shaker, you can use a cocktail shaker. It's more to bring down the temperature. We don't want to dilute the cocktail because that essentially will make it a bit too watery. So we want to keep that pungent flavor. Okay. So what we need to do here is the key ingredient, steamer cane. I'm going to free pour. You can as well.
No, I'll stick because Lizay said I must behave.
Yes.
So. I'll do a weekend dop.
Weekend proper dop, yeah.
I pretty much know a double now anyway. Lots of experience. Okay. Then we've got near equal parts of simple.
I did mine beforehand, so mine's perfect. Yes, perfect. Thanks.
Almost. Maybe a bit too much on there, but we can.
Must I do half?
Yeah. So do the double tot of the simple sugar, and then basically I'm free pouring, so it will basically be the same sort of amount.
Okay.
And then you can also do it how you like the taste. If you like something a little bit more sweeter, or perhaps not, a bit more fresher, you can play around with the flavors.
Okay.
Yeah. One thing I got to ask you though, while we're busy making this, very important thing because we're going to add it at the end, is grated zest. So if you don't mind doing that before we forget, because that's going to add a nice little punch at the end.
So we only add the sugar now, eh? We're not doing
we've just added the rum of the cane, steamer cane, and then we've added the simple sugar, and then the last ingredient will be the lemon juice, which you can add just now.
This thing is so blunt, nothing wants to come off it.
Hope you folks at home are able to do the zest and not battling like hard there.
Yeah, it's coming.
There we go.
There we go.
Bit of elbow grease.
Yeah.
I like a little bit more lemon, just to add a little bit more fresh punch. Okay. So you got enough there. We don't need too much. It's really just
it's all stuck on the inside.
We can almost use it from the inside. Yeah, I could almost grab a bit there. Is there a bit more than that perhaps for us?
This is hard work.
Come on, Hein.
Yes, man.
Put your back into it.
Elbow grease tonight.
We've got time, eh?
I can see that, yeah.
We're fine.
Luckily, we've got the ice and it's not going to melt quickly.
We're starting. Cheers.
While Hein is busy with the elbow grease, it also says on the Sugar Baron site that Sugar Baron is all about family fun and fermentation.
Yes.
And I know that you have 3 beautiful kids as well. How many of those are as a result of fermentation?
I'd have to say at least 2 out of 3.
Yeah.
66%.
That's a good ratio.
That's a good average.
Very good.
Okay, there's a tootsie here now.
I think that should be good enough, huh? Right. So
we go, yeah.
now we've got that. It'll be good enough
fantastic, Hein. Fantastic.
for the pinch at the end. But before that, so you've added now. Have you added the lemon? So add a double tot of that. Be awesome. And then literally, just to, you must call it garnish, or just to add a little bit of not a wedge, but a lemon slice.
Slice or block? This one?
Yeah, slice, good.
Okay.
And you can either stir it, give it a bit of a shake, because this is quite pungent, it's got quite a kick, but you've got the right balance of course, the rum, you've got the lemon, and then you've got that lovely simple sugar to sort of break through all that lemon.
Okay.
So, that's it.
I worked hard on this, don't
and then
forget
you
this now.
literally just go like this, grab it, and it's a little pinch. Not too much.
Drop it from up here, Hein. Drop it in from Chef Bay. There we go.
There we go.
It can be like that one guy with the salt at restaurants, if you want. And that's it.
I have to say, I quite agree with you when you say that cane is making a comeback. That is also part of your mission, is it not?
It really is. So I think I can only count, I think we're 1 of 2 or 3 at the moment. I'd like to say, yeah, we're right up there. We've really made a good quality cane spirit. As I said, Marcy Award winning. We actually entered into the same competition, the Trophy Wine and Spirit Show. And it got an 88 out of 100. It even beat our rum. I've got to say,
it's much better than Mainstay. That's the last cane I had.
Yeah, true.
And it was probably better than the other one.
Also, we've asked some of our viewers to weigh in on this thing of cane making a comeback. We just received a voice note on the WhatsApp line from 17-year-old Jackie, who says yes. At least, I think that's what she said. She was slurring her words at the time. But in a conclusion, both of these, I don't know how you guys feel, but both of these are my kind of drink. And I was shocked to discover that.
I was surprised. That's a very strong, there's no dilution of this. So you expect this to go like sour.
Yeah.
This is like a sweet and sour combination. It's actually amazing.
Could you do that sound effect for
No,
us
no,
again?
no. My agent said I'm not allowed to.
Guys, we're almost out of time. Brad, thank you. This has been fantastic. I think you guys have done
Really
quite
enjoyed it.
well.
Thank you.
Too, very well. Not bad at all. And when they say time flies when you're having rum, it really is true of cane as well. Is that true in your experience, Brad?
Oh, absolutely. So I mean, just farming the sugar cane, which I really enjoy, but to actually make alcohol, especially rum and cane, out of the very crop you are growing, so quintessentially from field to glass, I don't think one can get, so much satisfaction from creating something so beautiful like that. So.
Amazing. Give it up for Brad. Thank you so much. And next up, I'd like to introduce you to a phenomenal young man and his parents. We came across Romario Valentine when researching conservation in KwaZulu-Natal. It says in the script he's a whopping 12 years old. I think a mere 12 years old would be better than a whopping.
Yeah.
We don't want it to seem like the kids should start working prior to their preteens, but he's been campaigning and actively working to clean up and preserve our beaches and wildlife since the tender age of 6 years old, guys, when he became obsessed with cleaning his local beach. By 7, he'd personally picked up 3 tons of waste. By the age of 10, he'd published a book about conservation. And you may be thinking, does this kid not need some friends? He's actually got friends. That's the reason he can't be here tonight. He's in a play with his friends. So we got him in yesterday to share what he's been up to and what makes him tick. Let's take a look at Romario.
My name is Romario Valentine. I am 12 years old, reside in Durban. I'm an eco-warrior, an artist, and the author of Protect Our Planet Take Action with Romario. I'm an Ocean Soul Ambassador and a BirdLife Essay Owlet Award winner. These are my parents, Clive and Dalsha, and they help me with all my eco-adventures. I've started caring for oceans and beaches. Well, I've always cared for nature and the oceans. However, when I was 6 years old, I was in Orca in a school play. I decided to do research with my mother, and I discovered the damage pollutants was doing to marine life and seabirds. So I decided to do something about it by cleaning the beach weekly. I've helped with conservation of 1,000 endangered birds, built an aviary for 90 abandoned African grey parrots, and sponsored 20 hectares for the BirdLife Mouse-Free Mariam project. And I also planted and sponsored hundreds of trees around the world. I've done 350 beach cleanups. It took me a long time to do this, but I thank my parents for helping me because they carry the heavy bags and I do help them. And then I give all those bags when I've collected about like 30 or 50 bags, I'd give them to Restonic to recycle them. They recycle the trash, the plastic bottles and everything into beds. A perfect way of circular economy.
Romario strongly believes that it's his calling to protect the planet for his generation and future generations. He fully understands that the time is now to take action before it's too late.
I'm going to be working on the African grey parrots and the African penguins. And I'm going to be drawing and painting more birds to raise awareness. My favorite bird is the African penguin because their guano, their droppings, drop down into the sea and they help the coral reefs grow.
I think to facilitate his enthusiasm, I wouldn't really say it was us as parents. Romario, from a young age, would play with birds and sing with them and the butterflies, play outside, and he's always been able to communicate with birds. And I only really took it seriously when I think he was 5 years old. And he started painting endangered birds, asking questions about them. And then, as he did state that when he was 6 years old, he was the orca in the school play. And then I started doing research with him. And this obviously expanded his knowledge. And I would say he's just always been this earth guardian. And All we want to do is support him, and we are grateful for all the support he gets from everyone around the whole world. And I think that's what's special. You know, he does it with a benevolent heart, and he genuinely loves to protect the planet.
I'd like to become a scientist to better understand the environment. I'd also like to be an entrepreneur and create my own eco brand, which will help me to become a philanthropist. And this is my t-shirt that my mom helped me with. It's Le Romy.
Yeah, and I also feel as parents, you can teach the children the small things like what to recycle. You can plant a permaculture garden. Take them, if you can, on safari holidays, nature walks, so they see nature and become one with nature.
Ocean Soul is an environmental organization in Kenya which recycles flip-flops and turns them into marine life and seabirds. And this is my turtle made out of 30 flip-flops. So they take the flip-flops from the beach, and then those microplastics called Eva break down, and then they turn it into this.
Well, what an extraordinary young man Romario is. This is a copy of his book I've got here. It's called Protect Our Planet, Take Action with Romario, Eco Projects and Green Tips. Wonderful to give to your kids. He guides young nature lovers through complex environmental topics like climate change and carbon footprints while making it fun and engaging with green tips and craft projects along the way. When you look at this book, it really does make you ask yourself, what have you done with your life in the last 30 years, Hein? And to assist Romario, what you're now doing as Nedbank Private Wealth and Nedbank Financial Planning is donating 100 of these books to a selection of KZN schools via WESA's Eco Schools program, which is really awesome. Good luck to you, Romario, wherever you go and whatever you take on in the future. It's pretty clear you're going to clean up. Now, following on from Romario's passion for bird life, our next guest is from BirdLife South Africa. They are also beneficiaries of the Hans Hoheisen Charitable Trust with us in the aquarium. Please give it up for BirdLife SA Seabird Conservation Program Manager, Alistair McInnes. Come on, Hein. Welcome, Alistair. You're currently working on a program, I believe, called the Albatross Task Force. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And let's kick off with this question, Alistair.
Yeah.
Are albatrosses really such an annoying burden, and have you ever had one around your neck personally?
Not personally, Nick. I think you might be thinking about seagulls eating your slap chips on the beach, maybe?
Well, possibly, but I mean, they are actually quite remarkable birds in many ways, are they not? In fact, before you answer that question, we actually have a video that tells us more about what the Albatross Task Force actually does. So let's take a look at that.
They're incredible animals. They're absolutely magical. They breed, most of them every 2 years, lay a single egg, and take more than a year to raise a single chick to fledgling status. And their bond with their chick is absolutely incredible. That has definitely captured me, and I have never looked back. Of all the birds in the world, seabirds are considered the most endangered group of birds. Seabirds are attracted to two things. They are attracted to the bait that is used by some of the vessels, but fisheries also discard a lot of the unwanted parts of fish, and that is an incredible lure for seabirds.
And then when they come for the discards, they collide with the cables which are holding to the nets, and then they get broken wings. And then in pelagic long lining, they set up lines of baited hooks, and then as they come to steal the bait, they get caught on the hooks. My name is President Ngera. I work in the albatross task force. My main role is to work together with the fishermen in trying to reduce seabed breakage. We have got simple ways like the use of bird scaring lines to scare the birds away from the danger zone so that they won't collide with the cables. We collaborate in making the bird scaring lines. We are working with persons with disabilities from Ocean View. They've got different projects which they are working on. We supply them with the material, then they make bird scaring lines for us, and then we sell them to the industry. Our main goal is to try to win the hearts of the fishermen and then try to explain why are we saving seabeds. And also to try to use the bottom-up methods of where they feel the responsibility of saving seabeds, of which that is happening. And I'm so excited with that. If we reduce the bycatch of seabeds one step at a time, overall, it's about saving our planet Earth.
So, Alistair, amazing work that your colleagues are doing there out in the field, so to speak, at sea. And I noticed you weren't there, though.
No, I'm too scared to go out to sea.
Really?
Yeah. No, I'm not actually a part of the Albatross Task Force. I work in the Seabird program. It's a two-man or one-woman, one-man team. So you saw Reason and Yangera and Andrea Angel, and they're pretty much the Albatross Task Force. So Andrea does a lot of the work on land, and Reason's the guy who actually does quite a lot of the hard yards out at sea.
Right. And I saw they had something there called the scaring line. Is that something they got from I believe it was from the Japanese? Is that accurate?
Yep. Yeah. So that was actually invented by Japanese fishermen in the 1970s. It's called a Torii line.
Yes.
And it was actually because in those days there was actually quite a lot of fish on all of their hooks, unlike today when a lot of their hooks don't come back with fish, and a lot of their hooks actually had seabirds on. So it was in their best interest to chase away the seabirds.
And let's talk about albatrosses in specific. What makes them so special?
So albatrosses are, especially the iconic wandering albatross, is the king of the open ocean skies. It's the largest flighted bird in the world, 3.5 meter wingspan. They're very long-lived. They live.
That is from that box over there.
That's long, eh?
About.
Because that's a meter.
Yeah,
so three of these.
It's huge. We've actually.
That is massive.
Yeah, no, they're incredible birds. I mean, they can circumnavigate the Southern Ocean at least twice in 1 year. They spend a considerable amount of time out at sea. Once they fledge, they spend 5 to 6 years without even coming back to land before they start breeding.
Wow.
So they're very adapted to the open ocean, and they span a considerable amount of the globe. And that's why they're under threat, because they encounter lots of fishing vessels.
What else do you think can be done to mitigate the threat from these fishing vessels?
So the Torii lines is probably the most successful, the bird scaring line. That's probably the most successful method to mitigate against what they call bycatch. So it's the mistaken mortalities, basically. It's not intentional. And that's basically when birds collide into the actual cables that bring in the haul, or also get hooked on baited hooks in longline fisheries. So those bird scaring lines basically keep the birds away from the impact zone. There's other mitigation measures like managing your offal. So there's a lot of waste that comes off these fishing boats, so managing that at the right time not to attract birds in. Setting your lines at night, because a lot of birds don't feed at night, but there are some. So there's a whole suite of sort of mitigation measures that you can implement, which the Albatross Task Force is doing to great success, actually. Between 2006 and 2007, they've managed to mitigate against 90% of all the seabird deaths in our South African exclusive economic zone, just by using those Torii lines. So they're really effective.
90%. That's quite amazing. And why? People may want to know, why is it important to save these birds? What impact do they have on the ecosystem?
So seabirds, especially pelagic seabirds, like many marine top predators, play a significant role in mediating lower trophic organisms like fish and squid. So just like cetaceans, dolphins, predatory fish, they play that top predator role, but they also play a bottom-up role because they recycle a lot of the food they consume back into the oceans, into soluble nitrates and phosphates. that then drive primary production again. And they also do a lot of that pooping on land, which also drives the local ecology on a lot of islands.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they do also clean up a lot of slub chips left.
Yep. Not the albatrosses, unfortunately.
Oh, is that
the seagulls?
Yeah. Sometimes people mistake them for seagulls.
They do.
Hein, do you have a question to justify sitting in on this interview?
Well, I think it's interesting that you mentioned there was a big percentage of prevention in the South African coastline. What collaboration are there between countries? Because as you've mentioned, how many months can they go up to sea? 6, 7 months?
Yeah.
So once they leave that area, what is Mozambique doing? What's Mauritius doing? What's Angola doing? So is there a world body, or is this very unique to South Africa?
So that's a really good question. So the Albatross Task Force is actually not just in South Africa. So South Africa is one of the initial pilot projects. You now find them in Namibia, in South America, quite a few islands, and in West Africa. So the South African team are actually now sitting in Namibia, where all the different global partners are coming together to share experiences and that sort of thing. But you also get these broader scale regional fisheries management organizations that do coordinate management of fisheries between governments, basically setting different permit requirements, mitigation schemes and that sort of thing. So there is a lot of coordination. It's not perfect. There's a lot of work to be done, especially in our open oceans, which aren't governed, but there is some work towards governing the open oceans beyond the EEZs or the economic exclusive zones as well.
But the other question is it not worthwhile trying to get legislation going that a ship that's being manufactured automatically needs to be fitted with this to be seaworthy?
Yes, so there is permit requirements in the South African permit requirements.
Yeah.
I mean, not to say that they all over the world, but certainly in South Africa there are permit requirements to have bird scaring lines on. So there are many different fleets. So there's 6 different major commercial fleets that all, target different fish and have different fishing methods.
Yeah.
So not all of them have the perfect permit requirements. We're still developing mitigation measures for some fleets.
Yeah.
So it's a work in progress. Yeah.
Okay.
So one question is, what can be done to support this amazing work? And I'm sure Hein maybe is interested as well. He may have some high net worth. He's head of international, by the way. There may be some future Hoheisens out there listening this evening who want to know, what can we do to support this?
There's a lot we can do. You saw the video by Andy and Reason. It's basically a 2-man team. They're dealing with 300 vessels that are putting out 40 million hooks just in our economic exclusive zone, 70,000 trawl sets a year. There's a lot of work to be done, a lot of fleets. So we do need support, I won't lie.
How much? What's the number, Alistair?
It goes into the billions, I'm afraid. No, it isn't. I mean, we just need...
Going from 2 to 10, 2 to 4. Oh, that's buck and 5, if you want to call it that way. But I think you said it's only 2 people. So, I mean, if you go from 2 to 4, from 4 to 8, from 8 to 16, it's small differences that you make. So volunteering is maybe something that you need to look at. Because I'm very sure if you go to any of the universities, the young grads in biodiversity, ecology, marine science, all of them would be very keen to actually get involved with this.
Yes, no, for sure. And we're looking for an intern at the moment as well. And we're totally open to taking out anyone who's interested in partnering up with us. So we can take them around the vessels in the harbour. We can take them to Ocean View for people with disabilities who actually make the bird scaring lines for us. We can take them around, show them exactly how these things are made and how they're used.
Yeah.
And maybe if guys are really keen, we can try get a trip out to sea as well.
That would be fantastic. And so there you have it. If you want to learn more, how can they contact the Albatross Task Force?
So there is a pamphlet that was sent out to everyone, which has a couple of different methods to contact us, either via email or through the website. But if you need more information, you're welcome to drop us a line, and we can give a presentation or whatever you need to give more information.
Well, get in touch and learn more about this extraordinary bird that can do. We haven't even touched the surface of some of the things. Sleep on the wing. An albatross. Did you know that, Hein?
No.
They sleep on the wing.
They don't eat the chips. They eat the whole burger and the patty and all of those kind of things because they're so big. So they leave the chips. They go for the burger.
Another thing is, do they pair for life, Alistair, or do albatrosses practice ethical non-monogamy? What is their choice of relationship?
Like many seabirds, and actually a lot of different bird species. Actually, most of them are monogamous, so they do pair for life. If one of the partners dies, they will take another partner, but they're very seabirds, because they're long-lived and they have very sort of long life cycles. I mean, it takes
These
them.
ones can live up to what, 80 years old? Albatrosses?
The oldest one known is actually a bird that was ringed, I think, in 1956, Wisdom, who's now at least 72.
This is Wisdom. And Wisdom, I believe, is actually a female bird who is still breeding. Is that correct?
That's correct, yeah.
At 73. I mean, the only known human like that was actually Sarah from the Old Testament, who gave birth at the age of 88 and displayed none of the traditional symptoms of pregnancy other than dementia, Parkinson's, and arthritis. Alistair, thank you so much for joining us, for telling us about the extraordinary work done by the Albatross Task Force. And ladies and gentlemen, before I introduce our next guest, let us check in with our friend Nico Puko. Over there, Nico, how are you doing? What is happening over there? I see all sorts of things. I can't quite work out what they are, but it looks magnificent. For those of you wondering where Nico is actually from, I'm not sure which camera to look at, so I'm just going to flip between the two. This one over here. He's actually, ladies, he's actually from the East Rand. He's actually from the same birthplace as William Shakespeare, the Bard, who was born in Springs and wrote a famous sonnet honoring Springs that goes, "My love is like a red, red rose in Springs." Now, our next theme is the interconnectedness of all living things. We know that everything on this planet lives in a delicate balance, and should one element be off kilter, the rolling repercussions can be felt far and wide. Like when a butterfly flaps its wings in Brazil, the repercussions can sometimes be felt in Brazzaville. One organization very aware of the natural balance of things is the World Wide Fund. I was trying to get the World Wildlife Fund out of my head because the name changed in 1986. The WWF, represented here today by environmental behavior change practitioner and head of the WWF's SASSI program. Please give it up for my favorite Facebook friend, Pavs Pillay. Everybody, let's hear you. Nothing. They gave you nothing, Pavs.
Right.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Also, may I say, very excited to have Nedbank's Sarita Vital, Head of Distribution Operations at Nedbank Wealth Management. Sarita, you'll be pleased to know I found nothing about you on the internet.
Well
Pavs, you're an environmental behavior change practitioner.
Correct.
How do we change the behavior of the youth and get them to recycle their single-use vapes?
Well, I mean, it's single-use anything. Single-use straws, single-use
Single-use
packets,
is a big problem.
Absolutely.
You're also a problem because you're paradoxically a cat and fish lover. Is that still the case?
It's very much so, and they only eat MSC certified tuna.
That's fantastic, because it's the pelagics that aren't, that some of them are sustainable. But if we check on the SASSI app, which I did today, pilchards are actually orange, are they not?
Perfect. Well done, Nick.
So please think twice before feeding them to your cats, everybody. Sarita, let me put you on the spot here. Do you know what SASSI stands for?
Well, actually, I do.
Yes.
Believe it or not. Largely influenced by a friend of mine who has the app on his phone.
Very good.
And of course, in preparation for this, I did a little bit of research. And being in operations in a sales environment, I was immediately drawn to the numbers. And Nick, did you know?
No.
Of course you didn't, but I will tell you. 312 million kgs of seafood is consumed in South Africa per year, of which 50% is caught locally. So I looked that up on the SASSI website, and I was fascinated with those stats, and I'm sure Pavi will have a lot more to share.
It's quite a terrifying number, perhaps.
That is, and that's just South Africa. So, I mean, if you think about the world and you amplify that, the world eats pretty much around 20.3 kilograms per person per annum.
When are we going to start 3D printing fish?
Well, we can 3D print them, we just can't eat them.
Right, but how far off are we from eating them?
3D printed fish? Well, I mean, we're making plant-based fish now called fuka.
What are they called?
Fuka, as opposed to tuna.
That's fantastic.
Well, I don't know, Nick. I haven't tried it, so
Well, we've got to save the fish, otherwise there'll be nothing left for our kids, right? Who actually began the program, the SASI program?
So it's actually fantastic, and I'm glad we're actually in KZN, because the person who started SASI is Professor Kerry Sink, local to KwaZulu-Natal. And she was a PhD student, and she realized very early on that people didn't know what they were buying, they didn't know what they were eating, they didn't realize they were eating species that are specially protected, endangered, species that are depleted. And she actually went on this mission to start SASI, which is based on the Seafood Watch in America, in Monterey Bay, looking at how do we use an easy traffic light system to get people to make smart choices.
Yes. Now, speaking of which, we were actually backstage earlier and served prawns, which I thought were red listed on the app. Is that not the case?
So, well done for knowing that, first of all, Nick. So, yes, over the years, most, if not all, prawn species have been red listed because prawn fishing is one of the most destructive forms of fishing. You pretty much take out more bycatch or accidental catch than you do prawns.
Yes.
But we've kind of shifted a lot of that practice towards farming. So we farm a lot of the prawns. Now, before you say that all farm prawns are sustainable, no. You can farm as irresponsibly as you can fish. However, you can also farm responsibly. So, for example, the giant tiger prawn, which we'll use later, and
yes,
you'll have the wonderful time with Zola, is actually farmed sustainably and is green listed. And then the Aquaculture Stewardship Council, which is a certification body, has certified a species of prawns that makes it sustainable.
That's fantastic. Unfortunately, of course, some prawns on the app are green listed, but in my religion, they're all red listed.
Yes.
Now, Sarita, you have a question here. How can we eat green more? Which perhaps you'd like to ask instead of me. I accidentally read your question.
I wouldn't like to ask that, but I would like to ask you, how do we make people more aware of being socially responsible about what they're eating, considering the work that SASI is doing at the moment?
Absolutely. So at WWF SASI, we believe in something called the AMP. We make the awareness, we motivate it, and then we give people pathways on how to change their behavior. So we have so many tools. We have a pocket card, we have a free app that you can download and look at the status of the sustainability status of a species. We have a really cool website, we have a poster, we even have an Ocean Challenge game in this digital age with all the kids wanting to play games, and you become the commander of a submarine and you find red, orange, and green listed seafood. And hopefully in Marine Month, which is in October, we'll be launching our Fish ID app, where you take a picture of a fish and it actually tells you what that fish is and what is its sustainability status.
That's amazing. I want to go in one of those submarines.
Okay. No, Nick. We know what happens with submarines.
That's true.
Yeah, no.
Another question. How do we get youth inspired? Did you grow up in this province?
Not at all. I grew up in Pretoria.
You grew up in Pretoria. You're from a landlocked, let's call it, country. How do you get interested in marine conservation as a young girl growing up? In Pretoria, of all places.
Exactly. I mean, I grew up in a time of National Geographic and David Attenborough.
Uh-huh.
So, my dad would get old, banged up National Geographics that were tossed, and I would page to them, and I'd see this mysterious world that I knew so little about. And very much of us know above the water, very little of us know below the water. And I think that was my first fascination. And then, David Attenborough. My Planet first series released in early 80s. He could captivate just about anybody with these images that he was showing. And that's how I kind of gained interest. And for me, I kept saying, we've got to protect the wealth that lies below the water.
Yes.
Because it plays such an important role. I always do this with kids, and I ask them, is the oceans only about the food you eat? And they all go, yes. And you say, no, well, it produces 70% of your oxygen, so thank the oceans for every third breath you take. It distributes the heat around the planet, so it gives you your weather. It basically channels as much carbon dioxide through a very fancy word, carbon sequestration, more than most terrestrial plants. So actually your ocean is one of your biggest systems that actually makes our planet habitable.
And speaking of carbon sequestration, it's actually seaweed that plays a big role in that, is it not?
Absolutely, yeah.
And you talk about David Attenborough. The film My Octopus Teacher has inspired a whole new generation.
I'm so glad for that.
Including me. I started diving in the African sea forest. Is it one of the 8 wonders of the world?
Wonders of the world,
sure.
yeah. Craig Foster's movie
Craig
was
Foster,
amazing.
the octopus Casanova himself.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, that's a phenomenal
Have you ever
story.
seduced an octopus?
I try not to. Not really.
Pavs, are you still a fan of yoga, long walks on the beach, and what Garinal used to call mosaiking in the Oscar trial? Do you remember the mosaic of the evidence? Are you still into that?
Very much so. Thanks, Nick.
That's amazing. That's got nothing to do with anything. I just wanted to check.
Well, you can do the fish pose in yoga.
That's true. And you could do a mosaic of a shark tank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, listen, thank you for joining us. We're going to see more of you at the chef's table, but thank you for all the incredible work you're doing to safeguard the future of our oceans, which is really the future of the planet.
Absolutely. Thank you, Nick.
Thank you. I'm told our next guest is also a WWF custodian. She's passionate about promoting South African cuisine, and she often incorporates local flavors and ingredients into her dishes. Right now, I'm actually going to stand up, walk over, and introduce you to her. That is your cue, Mr. Cameraman, to pan with me. Her work has helped elevate the profile of traditional South African food around the world, and we are thrilled to have her join us here tonight with a very special dish she created especially for this event. Please, everybody, would you welcome local-born, internationally recognized, universally loved Chef Zola Nene!
And
Hello.
an ululation.
Hello, Chef.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you, Nick?
Move over to this
Yes,
side
you go
of you.
that
over
side.
Here. You have your assistant, Sarita, joining you
Sarita, thank you so much for volunteering.
from Nedbank over there.
Well, we'll pretend.
Chef Zola, welcome to your mother province.
Thank you. It's good to be home.
Born and raised?
Well, born here, not quite raised here.
Born and fled.
It was a parent's choice.
Right.
I had nothing to do with it. But I do love KZN. I mean, it is my birth province. I love coming back here. I love the food that comes from here because it's part of my heritage. So, yeah, it's good to be back.
Yes, and there is so much heritage in terms of food here in KZN, and that's kind of what's established your sort of broad and varied palate. Can we say that?
I think so.
Your appreciation of a variety of proudly South African dishes that come out of this province, from amadumbe to acha, from buri to panis, from imifino to isjenge, from mangoes to mogodu, from putu to penne, from amasi to arabiata, from chagalaka to chagrid gongo zola, from ushaka to unik.
All of.
Unik, that's me. That's my Xhosa name, Unik.
I don't know if that's a KZN flavor, but cool.
It is now.
We might have to adopt it.
We will.
How has your Zulu heritage influenced your cooking?
Oh, tremendously. So I grew up eating really well. My mom's a great cook, and my maternal grandmother was a really great cook. And I draw a lot of inspiration when I come up with new recipes and simplify old school recipes. I draw a lot of inspiration from nostalgia.
What is your grandmother's name?
Ukoko.
Ukoko. Does Ukoko ever come to you in dreams with recipes?
No, not in dreams, but she passed away when I was very young. So
Yes.
the one thing she did teach me how to make was isinkwa sombila, which is actually in the book that everybody got in their gift pack.
Isinkwa what is
Isinkwa sombila. So isinkwa is bread, yes, Nick.
Yes. Oh, I know
And
it's songa, yeah.
Umbila.
Songa samanzi we make.
Ujeka,
yeah, ne?
But isinkwa sombila. Isinkwa is bread. Umbila is
Something.
Millies, very good.
Right.
Nick.
I was right. It's something.
Yeah, no, it is. It is. So, yeah, so steamed mealie bread was the one recipe that she did teach me when I was very young before she passed away, like I said, very early on. So I like to think that whenever I make it, she's looking down on me thinking, oh, you're doing it wrong, or you're doing it right, or you've adapted it, or you're straying from the way that I taught you.
Yes.
But I think it's all, yeah, she's guiding me from up there.
I'm sure.
And Zola, it's millie bread, not sweet corn bread. Hey? So it's
Listen,
gotta be-
I am willing to forgive. If you only have sweet corn available in your region of the country, please indulge.
You're encouraging sustainability.
I encourage sustainability, seasonality, all of it.
And today what you're actually going to do is show us how to transform a good old KZN favorite, which is usually consumed on a pavement or in a park or on the beach somewhere with a liter of Coke, into something you could serve at a posh dinner party. So
Very posh.
yes, very posh. And
Fork
the
and knife.
ingredients, the key ingredients, I believe everybody at home, are in the box. So don't
Oh,
just
great.
watch. If you want to actually cook with us, they must
Cook
do that, right?
along. Absolutely, yeah. So we're making a prawn bunny. So everyone's used to a mutton bunny. Everyone's used to a beans bunny, perhaps.
Yes.
So this we're elevating a little bit by making a seafood version.
Right.
Yeah, and it's quick and
Sustainably sourced.
Sustainably sourced.
Thank
Yes.
you.
On the green list.
These are the green listed Vietnamese tiger prawns. So these are the ones that she
Okay,
was
very
talking
good.
about earlier.
And when you say the bunny, also important if you want to be down with the KZN peeps, it's not the bunny chow. The chow indicates you're not from here, right?
I mean, it is part of the name, but I guess.
Yeah. And also the other most important ingredient is, I believe, the aromatic masala. Is it? Which one is it?
There it is. This is the masala
one
in
here?
the packet, yeah.
So that's created also from the very home of the bunny.
It
Derbs.
is. Dude, right here.
And so, Sarita, are you ready? Are
I'm
we ready to go?
I'm trusted with the knife.
Whoa.
The way she wielded
Call
that
the
knife
medics.
scared me.
Where are we going to begin?
Okay, so we're going to begin here in the pot. I've got some oil already in here. Let me pop the lid off. And the first thing we want to do is bloom our spice, our whole spices. So here we've got some black mustard seeds. Use black mustard seeds. They have a better eating quality once they're cooked in this particular dish. And if you can't find the black mustard seed, use less of the yellow ones, right? Because they're a little bit bigger. And then also what I'm going to pop in here is some curry leaves.
Curry leaves.
I know, very aromatic, very flavorful. You can find these frozen if you're not from Derbs or you don't have a tree outside your house, so you can do that. So
I had a tree outside my house, but the neighbors stole it.
They really should give that back
They
to you.
should.
Yeah.
They should give
yeah,
back.
they should. For
They
curry's
won't.
sake.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so these you just want to heat up in the oil. The mustard seeds will start popping, and that's how you know they're ready. So I'm going to put you to work, ma'am. Our prawns have already been peeled and prepped. You're going to add some lemon zest to that, and you're also going to add half of that lemon juice. And then you're going to season with salt and pepper. So I like to, because prawns take a very short amount of time to cook,
Yeah.
I like to sort of start flavoring them pretty early.
Okay.
Yeah. So she's doing that. And they only go into the dish at the very end. So once your curry leaves and your mustard seeds start popping, we go in with our chopped onion. There are a lot of people who don't like onions. I don't know why. They can't be friends with any of us. Wait, if I didn't ask, does everyone here like...
I love onions.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. So they can't be friends with us. But if you don't like sort of the texture of onions once they're cooked, or you don't like to see them, you can just grate your onions and then they sort of dissipate once the dish is done. Okay, so saute your onions. I also like to salt my onions at this stage.
Salt the onions.
Exactly. So we season in stages, but also salting a vegetable draws out the moisture.
This makes it sweat, right?
Moisture, yes, English,
Cape
bundles,
Town
depleted.
coming up,
It draws out the moisture, so it sort of lowers the temperature in the pot and therefore will caramelize the onions a little bit slower and bring out the sweetness.
Nick, are you taking notes?
I
here?
am taking mental
Mental
notes.
notes, I'm
Yes,
glad.
Sarita.
Great. So you
I've
season?
done that,
You
yes.
season the prawns?
Who does the
Salt and
cooking in
pepper?
your
No,
home, Sarita?
no.
Who does the cooking in
I
your home?
do.
Do you?
Yes, with some help from my husband.
Okay.
He's a brilliant sous chef. Does all the chopping. Not always to my liking, but goes into the pot.
Is
and
he
it's
watching
beautiful.
this, by the way?
I hope not.
Okay.
I might be in trouble.
You hope not. I hope so. So he makes you make this.
Do you want to give him a shout out? Do you want to give him any instructions?
Hi, love. Just get dinner ready.
I thought the message was going to be, I'm bringing home some bunny, but guess
No,
not.
I just hope he'll be cooking.
Okay, so what's gone in here as well now is some garlic and ginger paste.
Okay.
You've also got some turmeric in here. Yeah.
Right. Which one was this orangey?
That was the turmeric.
Yeah.
And then we've got some coriander stalks in here as well, because, you know, those can cook a little bit longer. Save the leaves. Sarita's going to chop up the coriander for us over there. Once you're done, you can leave those to the side. That's all good. Now it's time for masala. Okay, so you guys are going to get to decide how hot and spicy you want this curry. Durban curry, just so
Is
you know,
hot.
is spicy.
So
It's
this is
meant
Durban
to be.
homegrown and Cape Town, there could be an argument.
There could be. So go ahead and fight.
I think we can do a compromise here.
Okay.
What would you like to start with?
I think we should look. When in Rome, I think we should go hot.
Okay, so
Yeah.
You're being a bit courageous.
Oh, I like it.
I'm
Okay, so
impressed.
I'm gonna. You tell me when, then, Nick. Okay,
I
I'm gonna
have
go.
no idea
One
when.
spoon. Is that enough? Is that hot enough for you?
No, I think we should.
Really?
Another spoon.
What
Is that
do you
hot
say,
enough for
Nick?
you?
It's, yeah.
I think maybe just a half more.
Just a half more.
Okay.
Okay. Blowing our heads off. Okay, we like it. So the important thing when you're using any masala or dried spice, any curry powders, is to make sure that you bloom your spices. So if you think about spices sitting in your cupboard, they're dormant. You want to sort of apply heat to them, then the oils
Right.
come out. That's where the
Right.
aroma comes, and that's when you start to smell it around the house, etc. So make sure it's a really important step to toast and cook your spices for at least a minute over low heat. If you're scared of them burning, because burnt spices and toasted spices, two different things. Burnt spices, not so good. Toasted spices, great. If you're worried about burning them, add a smidge of water just to lower the temperature and cook it a bit more gently. Okay.
Blooming. Wow. Who knew?
That's that's the term. Okay, so once this is all sauteed, and you should be getting the aroma of the delicious masala by now. All the flavors are sort of wafting around.
It smells like my kitchen.
Oh, okay. So what is your speciality dish, actually? Because Nick asked you if you cook, and you said a little bit.
I do, just a little bit. It is chicken curry, which my husband loves.
And have you ever made a bunny at home? Do you know? In fact, Sarita, this is a question for the Durban homegrowns. The origins of the bunny. Do you know anything about that?
I don't.
Well, it's quite. There are a couple of other things out there similar to it, right? In Cape Town, we have the Gatsby. There's the kota, which is just bread with curry in it. Is that right?
What, the kota?
Yeah.
Oh, kota has layers, chips, and it has polony
layers.
and eggs, etc.
This is a fancy bunny, right? So.
Yep.
So, what would it be called in a posh restaurant? I don't think you can get them. Can you get a bunny in a
I think if you
cordon
look,
bleu restaurant?
I feel like if you look hard enough, you'll probably be able to.
They wouldn't call it a bunny though. They'd call it like a rabbit repast or something like that.
I don't know. Hey, you can't. I don't think you can rename the bunny. I think you can just sort of change up the way that you assemble it, basically.
Yes.
And possibly eat it with a fork and knife. It might be posh enough.
I don't know. Even in a posh restaurant, you got to get your hands dirty. So here I put in the grated tomatoes. Always grate your tomatoes for curry. It means that the skin doesn't go in there because sometimes it's, it gets stringy. So just grate the tomatoes, cut it in half and grate it. Then simmer that for a bit. Add your prawns, and I'm going to swap because, this is live, so we've got to keep it moving. So let me get the one that's already cooked, okay?
They're already cooked,
Yep.
right, okay.
So here we go. The prawns only need to really simmer for a couple of minutes before they're done. And then at that stage, you can add some double cream yogurt. So this will mellow that heat, hopefully. And then, that'll also give it a creamy texture and note, and also add a bit of acidity, because with seafood, fish and prawns alike, you want a little bit of acidity just to cut through the richness, and also it enhances the flavor.
Can I
and
sprinkle?
Then you may sprinkle, ma'am. Look at that.
Perfect.
Okay, let's assemble really quickly. So
Can you just, this is that is the is there a name for this part? I know what this part's called. This is called the virgin, right?
Huh?
Is it not?
I thought it was just bread.
Nick, I think you're just making it up.
No, the lump of bread at the top is known as the virgin.
Really?
Yeah, but it doesn't
It's
stay
actually
virgin for long. The whole point is to get spicy, then you get juicy, and then it's not a virgin anymore. But it is considered very bad form to eat someone else's virgin. But that is the virgin, and this is, I don't know what that's called.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great, the unpure part, I guess. Okay, so the key to a bunny is to obviously stuff it really full. You want to be generous about it. Yes, it's street food, but it is street food that's meant to be really filling and affordable. So lots of sauce, lots of prawns, and here we've got this pot bread, just to sort of elevate a little bit. This is bread dough cooked in an empty tin, essentially. Yes. But traditionally, obviously, you can use your loaf. You can do a half bunny, a quarter bunny, a full bunny, some people do apparently. So pile it really high, and then also a nod to my Zulu heritage as well, to serve alongside this. Usually you have like a carrot salad or a sambal of some sort, and that is uShaka, which is essentially, I've made a mess here. Oh, there, right there.
This is uShaka.
uShaka, yes. So basically it's a tomato and onion salsa with a bit of chili and vinegar and salt, and it cuts through the richness of the bunny. So here is the bunny. And look at that. If you got this in a Michelin star situation, you would think, I'm getting my hands in there because it's the right thing to do.
It is magnificent. Chef Zola Nene, you're like a national treasure. That's what you are. Thank you for this delicious highlight to what has been a fabulous evening. Let's give it up for our sous chef as well, Sarita.
Beautifully
Magnificent
chopped.
job.
Beautifully chopped.
If your husband is watching, please make sure dinner is ready. She hasn't really prepared anything at all. That's it from the chef's table. Back to Lizay in the studio.
Event. Wow, guys, super excited. We're coming towards the end of tonight. I'm so sorry, our guests, you couldn't smell how good it smells around here. I would encourage you to try it at home. I assure you, you won't be disappointed. This really takes bunny chow to a whole new level. Paired with this citrusy cane cocktail, it's a perfect dish for a hot, balmy evening like tonight at the beach. Pure summer bliss. Thank you, Chef, for creating this incredible dish for us, and to all the incredible organizations who have done so much for this jewel of a region and who have contributed to this amazing event. Thank you. But before we say our final goodbyes, we need to unveil, Nico, your tide and table masterpiece. Nico, please reveal. Lovely. And can I please ask all my fellow colleagues from Nedbank to come and join us? Those of you that did not know that tonight would be a Did You Know show. And thank you very much for all the useless information you shared about our past and our history with everyone tonight.
Fascinated. You all have such a rich and diverse and colorful past.
Yeah, and did you know?
No.
That the world record for someone holding his breath is 24 minutes and 37 seconds. And you have outdone that more than twice tonight.
That's actually not true. I did a free diving course with John McCarthy and I was the worst student. I actually failed.
Well, from talking non-stop and not breathing. Everyone, thank you so much. Those of you that would like to become the owner of Nico's masterpiece, please look out for my email. It will be coming from our marketing team towards the beginning of next year. You can participate in the auction and become the proud owner of it. The contributions will be going to one of the organizations that we had here tonight. And then to all our fellow Nedbank colleagues being here with us tonight, we had so much fun. I hope everyone could see that this was a live audience. We had the sharks swimming around us. It was beautiful. But tonight is all about you. The most important, our guests, our clients, our friends. We would like to thank you. We would like to thank you for endorsing us for the time this evening, and we wish you all well for the remainder of the evening and the year ahead. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lizay. And if anyone would like to come surfing with me, before I go back to Cape Town tomorrow, I'm actually thinking of going down to uShaka. And I'm not sure what's in the water and what the current E. coli report is, but I'm told if any of you want to join in, Hein, I don't know if you... Okay, that's good because I don't normally surf with Afrikaans speakers. You never know when they're greeting or warning you. Often you get to the background and they're like, hi, and then you're like, where? So everybody, thank you for joining us. Please make yourself a cane cocktail, sip it at home, reflect on all the amazing things happening in our beautiful country as you wait for load shedding to kick in. And to play us out, the lovely Afro Divas with Better When I'm Dancing. Stay well, stay safe. Hashtag I'm staying. Woo! Good night.
Don't think about it, just move your body. Listen to the music, sing oh and oh.
Just move those left feet, go ahead, get crazy. Anyone can do it, sing oh yeah, oh. Show them what you call the fire. Feel the rhythm getting louder. Show the world what you can do. To them you got to move.
I don't know about you, but I feel better when I'm dancing. Yeah, yeah. Better when I'm dancing. Yeah, yeah. We can do this together. Don't you feel better when you dance? Yeah, yeah. Ba ba da ba ba da ba ba da. La
When you finally let go, you can say that solo. You listen to the music, sing, oh yeah, oh.
You're confident, babe. You make this hit sway. Anyone can do it, sing, oh yeah, oh.
Show the world you got a fire. Feel the rhythm getting louder. Show the world what you can do. Move and dance, you got the moves. Hey, I don't know about you, but I feel better when I'm dancing. Yeah, yeah. Better when I'm dancing. Yeah, yeah. We can do this together. Don't you feel better when you dance? Yeah, yeah. Ba ba da ba ba da ba da. La 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 la. La 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 la. Ba ba da ba ba da ba ba da. La 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 la. La 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 la.
Better when I'm dancing, better when I'm dancing, better when I'm dancing. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. Better when I'm dancing, yeah, yeah. Better when I'm dancing, yeah, yeah. We can do this together. Gonna feel better when you dance, yeah, yeah. Ba ba da ba ba da ba da. La 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 la. La 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 la. Ba ba da ba ba da ba da. La 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 la. La 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 la. Oh yeah,
Thank you, Nedbank Private Wealth and Financial Planning, for having us. We are the Afro Divas. Good night.
There are many different sides to you. Is your bank serious about connecting your wealth to all of them? Our wealth advisors connect your money decisions to every facet of your life. We call it Connected Wealth.